Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Dennis Bragg. Jill has the night off. Last year's harsh winter and a quick turnaround to fall this year has probably left you wondering what the roads are going to be like this year. MTN's Lauren Heiser shows us how the city has already begun to prepare for snow.
On a beautiful day like today, the last thing on people's minds are the road conditions for this coming winter. But the Missoula Street Division is thinking ahead. In the past 2 years, the division has been able to hire 2 additional full-time employees. They now have 11 crew members on both the day shift and the night shift. Street Superintendent Brian Hansel said that this allows the night crew to be more effective during the hours when people aren't on the streets. If the main roads, priority 1 and 2 areas, are taken care of at night, then that means that the day crews can focus mostly on priority 3 and residential areas. For years, residents have called in with concerns about their streets not being plowed as frequently as they would like. Even though the goal is to have that done more often this year, people will still have to deal with the leftover snow pileup on their own. In addition to added personnel, the division has also purchased a new snowplow. One of the older ones is going to be decommissioned in about a year, but for this coming winter, there will be 1 extra snowplow operating on Missoula's roads.
We greatly appreciate the increased staff with the full-time employees that we received over the last 2 years from the mayor and council, and I think it will make a difference. For the first time in a long time, I'm kind of looking forward to this winter to see if this new plan will work.
Hensel said that last year's harsh winter helped to not only start the discussion of how roads could be kept safer, but it also helped to shine a light on areas where the division itself could improve. Though the department is optimistic, Hensel warned people that the weather in winter can sometimes be unpredictable, and citizens should always remain cautious.
We can't be everywhere all the time as soon as it starts snowing. And no matter how many people I have or plows or schedules that I use, there's going to be places where the city is going to be slick and the streets are going to be difficult. So what I would ask the public is, by all means, be safe. Be careful with where you're driving. Slow down.
Reporting in Missoula, I'm Lauren Heiser with MTN News.
Now, if you're wondering which areas are classified as priorities 1, 2, and 3, you can find the answer to that question and many more on the City of Missoula's website. And while we won't see snow in the valleys, we'll see some windy and cooler conditions this weekend. Here's Aaron Yost. She's kind of panicking when we showed that footage here just a few minutes ago. Aaron?
I'm not ready for that yet. I can't see that yet. We will see that in the higher terrain, maybe as low as 4,000 feet Sunday morning. But let's talk about today first really quick. Take a look at this shot in Hamilton. First Security Bank iCam. A lot of sunshine out there today. Temperatures well into the 60s. Some folks even flirting with the low 70s today. Of course, the wind started to pick up, and that's all as our next system approaches. And it is starting to creep into extreme northwest Montana as we speak. Tomorrow morning, the cold front associated with the system will start to move into that part of the state first, then spread further south and east. I've got all the details on what we can expect coming up.
Thanks, Aaron. Another local news tonight. Fire officials say the loss of 2 tankers destroyed in a fiercely burning fire in Missoula amounts to $500,000. But quick work by the firefighters saved another $1 million worth of equipment that had been parked nearby. Missoula Fire Department and Missoula Rural Fire Crews called to Mountain West Co-op storage area on Razor Drive shortly after 10 this morning with a report of smoke and explosions. When they got there, they found 2 tanker trucks completely engulfed in flames. 2 expensive semi-tractors were completely destroyed in the blaze. The 2 tankers they were attached to were also heavily damaged. An MFD battalion chief tells us fortunately the 2 tankers were empty and the fire happened in an area away from any businesses or homes. The tankers were low pressure type, which is usually used to haul fuel products like diesel or gasoline. The cause of that fire is under investigation. Mineral County's declining economic situation is resulting in hungry bellies in Superior School classrooms, but a group effort today delivered hundreds of pounds of food to the school's food pantry. MTN's Augusta McDonald shows us how the community is coming together to feed the students and their families.
As the number of hungry kids and families went up, so did support from Superior Schools.
When they're here, when they're under this roof, you know, they're our kids. And it's just easier to help take care of them than it is to worry about them.
Every student in the school district qualifies for free breakfast and lunch due to area poverty levels, but a lot of those kids are going home to empty cupboards on the weekends. This pantry works to change that.
And oftentimes, you know, the cavalry doesn't come riding in. You have to kind of be creative and come up with solutions for yourself. So that's all of what you've seen today. That's what this is.
These pallets here represent about 720 pounds of food that was just donated by Mineral Community Hospital employees. Now here we have spaghetti, we have tuna, we have peanut butter, and all of this food will be sent home to feed hungry students and families.
Hospital employees have held multiple community food drives and expressed a desire to partner with Superior Schools to support the food pantry.
And our employees, time and again, are extremely generous when it comes to these types of projects.
Good job, Isaiah. Thank you, sir.
Some kids have like the home life that they get to eat all the time and stuff. And some kids just don't have that. And the hospital giving the donation like this, it helps those kids too.
It is sad that, you know, there are kids in our community and everywhere that don't have maybe they don't have the money, or, you know, there's other problems, but like the community and the hospital and the school stepping in to help, that's a good feeling. So.
In the file cabinet behind you is a whole folder of recipes that we go through and we look and we see what we have here. And their homework is, what do you guys have at home? Let's pick a recipe that you guys can put this together for the weekend. You guys can feed yourselves all weekend, and your family for that matter. So it's future, it's an investment.
An investment that is helping kids toward a better future at Superior Schools.
Reporting in Superior, I'm Augusta McDonald for MTN News.
The hospital is hosting this food drive for the school through the end of this month, and donations can be dropped off there. The school food pantry accepts donations to its programs all the time. You can call the elementary school office directly to coordinate a drop-off.
Salute the Badge is brought to you by Montana Railing, supporting the Main Street of Montana for 30 years.
When the Missoula County Sheriff's Office was going to resurrect its school resource officer program, one deputy was the first in line for the job. Tonight, as Jill Valley salutes the badge, we find out how a lifetime of public service led Deputy Rebecca Burkett to the job she was meant to do.
Big high fives.
Are you having a good day? Yeah.
And lots of hugs make up Deputy Rebecca Burkett's day. Lolo School is just one of 12 she serves in Missoula County as a school resource officer, where she is making connections.
That is so awesome.
With the kids.
We don't want to have that preconceived notion of, you know, cops are a scary thing. I don't want to have to talk to the cops. It's a bad thing. We want it to be a good thing. We want to be another trusted adult that these kids can come to.
The Sheriff's Office SRO program relaunched last month after a hiatus, and Burkett wanted the job. It was a school resource officer at her school growing up in California who inspired her, and with a brother who was a police officer, she felt called to public service. But coming out of high school, she was too young for the job, so instead she became a dispatcher. Then on weekends trained to be a volunteer firefighter, then an EMT, then a detention officer, a Missoula County Sheriff's detective, and now an SRO. She says all roads have led to this.
I love it. I love what I'm doing. I absolutely, being in the role at the school, seeing these kids every day, I have the best job in the department. My hands are usually sore from all the high fives, but I think that's a good thing.
School colors like that.
Deputy Burkett says her job is not just about school safety. As she gets to know these students, she hears about their new puppies and their soccer practice. She goes to their football games and cheers along. When needed, she is there for those difficult discipline issues that can crop up in school. But mainly, she is a positive presence in the hallways, hoping to show officers are regular people who are there to help.
Building those relationships and establishing that rapport and gaining that trust to know that behind all of this, she's a mom, she's a person, she's somebody that, you know, if I'm having a crummy day, I can go talk to her.
In Missoula, Jill Valley, MTN News.
Deputy Burkett says she hopes the Sheriff's Department SRO program will eventually be available at more schools in Missoula County. Coming up, Aaron will be back with, well, it's kind of a gloomy weekend forecast. But later, a husband and wife are challenging Senator John Tester for his Senate seat in next year's election, but they're running separately. We'll explain with that story coming up a little later on KPAX.